Good morning. It's 6:30 on Sunday the 25th of July and I'm sat in Summerhouse Garden. A few months ago I posted a couple of videos talking about planning for colour in this area of the garden, something I hadn't really done properly before. So I thought I'd share the results in, where are we now, sort of late July with you. The view you've got now is the first of 4 large beds there, the permanent planting. There's a bamboo there and a red flowering bottle brush, and the bear's breeches, they're the purple and white flowers of acanthus, and there where we are, a yucca tree plant. In flower this year, the yuccas have done really well. In fact, one of them did too well, and I'll show you that in a minute, but they've flowered really well. And that flower spike there, where are we? There is about, well, getting on for 10 foot at the top, I would say, approaching 3 meters. So the permanent planting here, the obviously the evergreen, the bamboo and the bottle brush and the yucca are evergreen. The acanthus comes back, it's herbaceous and comes back every year. There's 2 sorts of acanthus there. The larger leaved sorts is acanthus mollis. I can't remember the smaller leaved sorts, which is there. You can see, if I zoom in here, what terrible problems I've had with slugs and snails this year. In fact, I was out here at 6:15 this morning, just getting ready for this video, and I took 40 snails from this bed alone off the plants, mainly off the yucca and the acanthus. And they've done real damage this year. However, the planting that I've added to the bed has been this, let me get Dahlia Bishop of Dover, this beautiful, let me try and get in. There. I don't know if the colour comes out, it's white flower, but with a tinge of pink in here, and that's the Bishop of Dover, Dahlia. And I've also put in some cosmos, white flowering snow puff. There, I bought those from Chiltern Seeds earlier this year, and I've grown them on myself. And the Dahlia bulbs I got from Farmer Gracie. And I've got this is permanent but herbaceous, a self-seeded agapanthus there, plus a large fern that came from my parents' garden. So the overall effect of this now, I can't believe how full this bed looks compared with what it did about 4 months ago. But the colour blending is very pleasing. The purple and white of the acanthus, the white of the yucca, the white and pink of the Bishop of Dover, and the white of the cosmos there with the blue of the agapanthus. It's a really pleasing mix. The thing that I would change for next year, I think I need more cosmos and more dahlia. The balance, I haven't quite got right, the balance of green from the leaves with the white of the flowers from the cosmos and the dahlia. I would say, because I've got another dahlia. So I've got, in fact, you can see there's sort of a seam of them. These haven't flowered. These ones haven't flowered yet. There's sort of a seam there and then a clump there. And I think the theme from this bed and all of these beds, I need to plant the group the flowers more closely together to get more of an impact. So that's my aim next year. But overall, I'm really pleased with that. Certainly as a development, it's far from perfect. But from where it was last year, where it didn't have any colour really other than the green and the acanthus flowers and the blue from the agapanthus, it's really come on. I'm really pleased with it. So in the bed opposite, there's a slight change to colour. The theme picked up again by the acanthus, which is one of my favourite plants from the first bed, but there's slightly hotter colours here. So I've got Dahlia Procyon here, which is yellow flowered with red tips, and Dahlia Bishop of Llandaff in there. There's a canna in there. I can't remember which one that is, that canna. But the theme of the colours, well, it's fantasy, yeah, so pink, sorry, white flowers with pink flecks on, that's kind of fantasy. Yeah, so it's a bit sort of hotter themes in here, and you've got the yellows from the Cicericium here, and then the lime green Nicotianas over here, and some white cosmos down there and there, and that cosmos is xanthos, which is slightly a yellow tinged flower as well. Less pleased, I would say, with this bed than the first one. A lot of irises here, which were beautiful earlier on in the year, but again, what I haven't got right is the number of plants I've got. So for instance, I need more of the cosmos there to have more of an impact. It might be that it's a bit too early in the year and there'll be more, because they are quite late flowering, aren't they, cosmos, or they can be more of an impact later on in the year. But you know, sort of August, September, October time, but we will see. Anyway, I mean, I can do an update. Let me get a, let's see, you know, I can do another update later in the year, but I am pleased with the fullness of the bed, generally speaking. This is the second of the yuccas I was talking about. Again, flower spikes 10 foot high, very majestic and very imposing. And on the other corner, a Mahonia, which has stunning midwinter flowers with the most glorious scent. And then my fig tree here, which has done really well this year, although where I've got it, you can see it's leaning away from the hedge, so I need to move that. But the trouble is, it's such a big pot, it's not easy to do. So yeah, not unhappy with that, but lesson learned, need more of an impact, need more plants, I would say. I have, as I mentioned in the previous video, been battling with slugs and snails this year in a way that I haven't done for 20 years. And they've damaged so much, whether it's because I've planted things that they're more, they eat more and they've thrived on that, because I have planted much more this year than I have done in the past by way of temporary planting. So I've just paused there, I've just seen the hedgehog. We've got a hedgehog in the garden, and when I was setting up this, I could hear a noise in the undergrowth and thought that can only be a hedgehog. Let me go through, hang on. I've created some log piles in the garden. I'm in the next section of the garden now, and yeah, he's in there somewhere. I've created a log pile at the back of the bed, and it's good. They seem to have found that. It's worth a note. Yeah, look at, sorry, I'm going off a tangent. Look at the slug damage there. Yes, it's worth a note, actually, if you've got corners of the garden. Let me try and get in there, if you can see. So this, the corners of the lawn is oval shaped, so that bed has a corner that's quite deep, and each corner has that, and it's worth, if you have corners like that, creating a bit of a log pile. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So that's the second bed. More pleased with that this year than I have been in previous years, but not far from perfect. So this bed this week isn't what it was last week, or isn't what I expected. So you can see there's a yucca there. If you've seen previous videos, you may remember there's also a yucca of the same size in there. And last weekend overnight, it also had 3 big flower spikes on. And last weekend overnight, 2/3 of this one, of the yucca, broke free and fell across the garden. So you can see the damage it's done. Oops, there. and through here, flattening all this cosmos here, so it fell sort of this way and it squashed the oh gosh, what's that? Not Montbretia, it's got a different name. Crocosmia, sorry. Squashed the Crocosmia here. So it's done quite a lot of damage, but I can still talk about the planting here. So I've put in Dahlia Cornell Bronze, this sort of peachy colour, has the most amazing flower structure to it. I think dahlias are just stunning flowers, and when you get that level of symmetry and beauty, it's just stunning. The colour is described as peach, but it's also more of a bronzy peach, I would say. And then behind we've got some the permanent planting in the Cosmia there, and then two sorts of cosmos in this bed. One is Dazzler, which is a bright crimson, and Rubenza, which is a dark crimson. So that's the Dazzler there, and that's the Rubenza there. And then in terms of permanent planting, got some lavender, sedum, foxglove tree, which I pollard. I don't know if you can see top. You can see it's cut off. It was getting too big really for the garden, so I cut that back. And there, it's difficult to see, all of the leaves look very similar. Is a catalpa, which again I kind of knock back to the ground each year and use for the sort of impact of the leaves. And a rhubarb plant, which doesn't usually get eaten but is there for effect. And canna, I think that's Pink Princess, that one. Yeah, Pink Princess, and that's grown really well. Out of all the cannas I have, where are we there? That's grown really well. That's topping 6 feet now. I have planted cannas in other beds, as you've seen in the last section, but not with much success this year. So anyway, long story short, very disappointed to have lost one of those two yuccas. They were a pair, so I'm going to have to find something to plant in there. I like the Buddleia globosum, the Buddleia with the round orange flowers, so I might look at getting one of those. Again, sort of pleased with the colours, but not very happy with the concentration. No, I am pleased with the colours, but I'm not happy with the concentration of them. So I need to sort of think next year about how I clump flowers, the sort of plants together, because you know you've got there's another dahlia there, and it's a bit split in distance terms from there, whereas I think if I did it as a clump it would be more impactful. Fern's one of my favourites, always good doers. It's incredible, can you see the orange? I'll come up on camera, but there's orange dust on here, on these rhubarb leaves that are the spores from the fern just next door. Yeah, so that's the third bed there, ignoring the destruction from the fallen yucca. And I've saved this bed to last. It's certainly the most colourful. I've got two sinks, two Belfast sinks there. One of them I've put, that one I hadn't put anything in yet, but that one I've put red geraniums in. And then I grew last year from seed this verbena, purple verbena, and the orange. I mean, that's I don't know what these dahlias are. They've been here too long, but that orange there is almost well, not almost, it is luminous. So there's three sorts of dahlia. There's the plain orange, the sort of yellow and brown, and then these larger ones here, which are a darker orange. There, yet to open up. Crocosmia lucifer, bank there, and then two sorts of dahlia, the plain purple Thomas Edison and the purple and white Darling Harbour. And again, I haven't, the mistake I've made there is not grouping them together. So you've got one Thomas Edison down here and another one here, and then the Darling Harbour here. There's another clump there, but you can see the sort of the effect I was going for, kind of clashing colours, but not. Again, I think you need more. I need to make sure I group them in the same area, the same sort of plant in the same area for a bit of impact. A white flowering hydrangea at the back, a variegated yucca there, and a small flowered clematis growing up against the side of the summer house, which you zoom in there, may not be able to see very well. So overall, you know, in terms of cut, and obviously the lime green there from the Alchemilla mollis, and the bronze-leaved grass, which is a bit of a spreader. I started with one, possibly that one, and I've now got a few, and then over the back as well. So I might take some of those up this year. I mean, but overall the effect is there. You know, I've got the layers of colours, you know, from the low, medium to the high. The verbena potentially is more noticeable in real life than you can see on the camera, but I just wanted a bit of a riot of colour in this bed, and a bit of a, you know, well, clashing really, I suppose. You know, something that sort of caught the eye. So my plan is with all of these beds to there is a canna that, again, like with some of the other beds, that's sort of there we are, it's dark leaved. Where are we? Oh, it's sort of in there, but it's not. I don't know, the cannas this year haven't done, apart from that one in the previous bed, the cannas this year haven't done very well. Oh, there's a small one there, so I don't know what's wrong really with that. I don't know if they're suffering with the slugs and snails or what. But anyway, that was, yeah, so I've achieved what I want to achieve in terms of the colour clash, if not the sort of organisation of the beds well enough. So I came briefly into this garden a couple of minutes ago, and I was following the hedgehog. There's a complete change of sort of tone and pace here. Deliberately, this is a very cool coloured garden, greens, whites and blues. So over here, the white flowering Davidia, I think it's Davidia, that one, and then the globe thistles. There's two sorts there, echinops. One, oh no, there's not two sorts, sorry, that's echinops, and there's an eryngium. There's eryngium as well there. And during the spring, there's a huge stand of blue flowering bulbs, spring bulbs. I can't think what they're called, but they, you know, they make a good colour. And then up here, now the beech hedge has sort of grown out across it. There's a eucalyptus there, choisia, providing a pop of colour there, and a sort of holly bush that's ever so slow growing. That, but seems to have picked up the last couple of years. Seems to have sort of taken on a bit of a spurt growth with a small euonymus down in there. Spirea, two spireas here. These have just gone over in the last couple of days, but they were absolutely covered, as you can see, in white flowers like that and looking beautiful. Very popular with the insects. Nepeta in there, and a magnolia at the back. And then moving round, you can't really see it from here, but I've got Ceanothus, which has it is variegated and light-leaved, light colours to the leaves, but has the most beautiful light blue flowers, almost like the licorice all sorts, that sort of blue bobbly sweets. They're covered in those in the spring. Can't remember what that is at all, but a robinia again, which I've sort of, you can see, I've pollarded over time, and has sort of burst back into life with a blue flowered clematis growing up it. That was where we saw the hedgehog earlier on with my log pile at the back, and a dogwood here. I've got a few ferns dotted around. I might go for more of those because I've got some gaps, and ferns seem to do very well here. I've grown from seed some, oh gosh, Eryngium agavifolium, so agave-leaved Eryngium, but look, the slugs and snails just absolutely trashed them. So there's 12 planted here, and only one of them has actually managed to flower, which is a real shame, because they're beautiful flowers as well as very striking foliage. So I'll have to watch that. They're moving round. Got a slow bush there that was bought for us as a wedding present from to make slow wine with. Slow gin with. This is a type of honeysuckle, isn't it? Shrubby honeysuckle. Again, if you look, it's sort of taken over a bit. So I might take a couple of those out. Here, a white flowering Philadelphus. Looking a bit sort of scrubby at the moment. I don't know what's causing that. This I'm disappointed with. It was a buddleia that I cut back because it was getting too big and it sort of died a death. So I'm going to have that taken out, and then I've put 2 more clematis there. That one's Diana's Delight, which is a pale blue flower, and that one's called Ice Blue, which is, by its name as it suggests, a blue-white, sorry, very pale blue flowering one. I can't remember what that clematis is. It's been there too long now, I can't remember. And then slightly sort of woody area with the ivy that's naturalised from the footpath next door, some honeysuckle and jasmine. And this is the seating area here. The fence panels have seen better days here, but actually I'm just going to leave them and let the ivy and the honeysuckle and jasmine grow over it. And above our head, a very large escallonia that's very popular with the insects at the moment while it's in flower. So you can see this garden here is a complete sort of change of pace from the one next door, which was very hot, vibrant colours. It's very cool in here and it's lovely. The sun sets over there, so it's lovely sitting in that bench, on that bench there in the evening. And then the farthest part of the garden here, it's changed a lot, and there's more work to be done in here, which I won't sort of go into detail now about, but we had a pergola covered in a grapevine, which over a small patio, which has gone. So we had this sort of larger patio area put in. It's not sorted or tidy yet, and we've got a large lantana here and 3 brugmansia plants here. They're in the shade from the heat that we had a few days ago, because I can't water them fast enough before they go limp. And then my collection of agapanthus. So I've got very tall white and blue sorts. Where are we here? And some shorter blue here. A couple of figs I struck from cuttings during lockdown last year. An olive tree from my parents' garden when my mum moved house early this year. She gave me 2 olive trees, and another brugmansia as a cutting from a friend. Can you get that there? This is very soft, peachy pinky flowers. A geranium madarensi, and 3 oleanders and a bay tree, also from my mum's garden when she moved house earlier this year. And then right at the back, I've got trays and trays of cuttings. So I've got 2 trays of agapanthus seedlings, loads of eucomis flowers, cuttings of random stuff like begonia and some agave plants, some more, Verbena boreensis seedlings, loads more cuttings, begonias, aeoniums, jade golem ears, Schlemberger, aloes, spider plants, all sorts there. So yes, this, I won't go into details on the video, but this area by this time next year will be very different. or no, not very different, sorry. We'll have a, will be different, let's put it that way. I've got these pots, we've had these for years, and I'm thinking of cutting the bottom out of each one of them and having it permanently planted here, possibly with a sort of a standard fig, which I might use the ones that I grew from cuttings last year. 2 of those, so although they don't look it, they are the same size. One's in a higher pot, but they are the same size. So I might, as I say, get an angle grinder, cut the bottom out of those. I've got 4 of those 2 there, which I was trying as a sort of, what are they like in that position, plus those 2. So if I do decide to do that, where are we? I'd have 2 there and 2 there. But as I say, cut the bottom out and have them permanently planted, so the fig can put, or the whatever plant I decide to put in, can put its feet down into the ground underneath and grow. Because although we're on heavy clay soil, shrubby plants seem to do very well here. You can see the beech hedge, which we had cut right back this year, just bounced back, so you wouldn't really notice it. So shrubby plants seem to do very well here, so I think that would work. Anyway, if you've lasted this long, well done. I hope you weren't too bored. The final bit of the garden is the one nearest to the house, which I haven't talked about today in this video. I've got pots of bright red geraniums along here, and a bed here with some hardy pelargoniums. I shouldn't say geraniums. Hardy geraniums, some white salvia, and 2 roses. I can't remember the name of them, I'm afraid. A bit of white flowering and a red flowering rose, and a Philadelphus that was a cutting from my parents' garden a long time ago, nearly 20 years ago. That is, cut that back hard last year, so I had no flowers this year, but will do next year. And then the red flowering Clematis Ernest Markham. Ah, there we go, look. That wasn't out last night. 1 flower so far, but loads and loads of buds on it. So I'm hoping this is absolutely going to be absolutely smothered, because there's buds, flower buds all the way along there, and a bit hanging over there and over there. My hope was to grow that clematis around the corner and cover the shed there, but I don't think it will work that way. Trailing geranium. Pelargonium. That's the garden bench that I restored. More pelargoniums. And that's a hydrangea, what's that called? Sunday Fres, and a begonia and a pagoda tree. Sort of fairly random, and an acer, fairly random collection of stuff. Greenhouse I haven't been into, certainly haven't done a video of. I have been into it myself, but I haven't done a video of for ages. Not quite full. I need to sort of tidy around a little bit. This trailing pelargonium here is the most gorgeous velvety coloured flowers on. Heavy cropping cucumbers, tomatoes, not doing so great at the moment. Yeah, so and this bed here needs some work. There's a lot of bare soil which I can't stand, so I'm thinking of getting some more maybe white salvias or white nepeta, something to brighten up. This bed is very green and quite heavy at the moment, so I've got 1 red rose here. Obviously the whites from the daisies now these are coming out, but that's only a very recent thing. More acanthus and more snails, and then a tom thumb, pittosporum, and an ornamental red currant. So yeah, there's plenty going on, but this bed definitely needs some work doing to it. And then finally, big pop of colour there from the red pelargoniums and a pinkish trailing one. I'm not sure if the two go well together, but anyway, there we go. Trial and error. Yeah, so there. I hope you've enjoyed the tour of the garden. Just have a look at what the effect of the sort of planning for the colours. That was the main reason for this tour, really, was to sort of have a look at the colour mix. So I'll leave you with that scene there. Thank you. If you watched this far, thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.